Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Spencer, and if you've been watching my videos for the last few months since starting my YouTube channel, I hope you see the effort I put in to keeping that diversity there in terms of the faces that I paint. Whether it be the face shape or color or age, I'm really trying to mix it up as much as possible for y'all. But I've yet to paint a boy's face until today. As you may have guessed from the thumbnail and title of this video, I'm not just painting any boy's face. I am painting the one, the only James Charles. So a huge thank you to James for allowing me to paint your flawless canvas and for really being there to support me for my new channel. So if you want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to start, I'm using my Mercier Infusion de Rose Glow Mask, and I'm applying a thin layer of this onto James's skin using my beauty blender. Although this is considered to be a mask, I leave it on the skin and I don't remove it before applying foundation, but the skin will need a few minutes to soak this up before moving on to the next steps. Next, for coverage, I'm taking the Luminous Silk Foundation from Giorgio Armani, and I'm working this into the skin, also with my beauty blender. And this is in the shade 5.5. Do you guys remember when this used to be the it foundation back in the day? I used to use it all the time on everyone, and then for whatever reason I stopped using it, but now I think I'm back on the bandwagon. It's so good and it looks so beautiful on the skin. Also notice how I take the foundation up onto the ears, and in James's case, he has really short hair, so the neck and behind the ears will be exposed. So I'm sure to blend everything down there too. Nothing irks me more than when someone turns to the side and their neck and ears are a whole different color than their face. And trust me, I've made that mistake before myself, but spending a few extra seconds to do this is a game changer. Next, to conceal, I'm using my good old Kevyn Sensual Skin Enhancer, and I'm mixing shades SX02 and SX04 to achieve this shade. Starting from the inner corner of the eye, I'm working my way down the sides of the nose and outwards towards the temples. You know what? Watching this footage, I just realized that I started with highlighting. That's so weird. I usually apply the contour first, but who knows what was running through my mind. I mean, there's no right or wrong way of, doing anything in makeup. That's why I love it, but I always get a kick out of watching my footage because I see things I would have never had noticed in person while doing the makeup, but oh my goodness gracious, it's still so weird. Do you guys highlight before contour or the other way around? I'm curious. Let me know down in the comments. But anyways, besides the under eyes, I also apply this concealer to the center of the forehead, above the brows, down the center of the nose, the cupid's bow, and chin. And then with my beauty blender, I'm blending it all out. I always say, take your time with the blending because ultimately that's where the magic happens. You don't want to blend it out so much that everything starts looking flat again, but also, if you don't diffuse it out enough, it's just going to look unnatural and harsh. So when in doubt, just blend it out. And if you've used this concealer before or any other thick cream concealer, you already know it's so different than the formula of a liquid concealer because the consistency of it is thicker. So you're gonna have to put some back into it. You know what I mean? It takes a little bit more work to move that product around. So don't be afraid to get in there with that beauty blender or brush or whatever you're using to blend it out. With the placement of this blend, for the most part, I'm keeping this separate from the areas I'll be applying contour. So for example, the temple area, you can see I'm keeping a sharper line there between the highlight and where the contour will be, which will give us that lifted cheekbone effect and will really help us later on when we're applying the bronzer and eyeshadows. Same goes for the nose. I'm blending this right up to the nose bridge, right beside where I'll be applying the contour. And as for the eyelids go, I don't really use primer, so I use whatever concealer I have left to bring up onto the lids and to cancel out any color we may have there. And then with my Makeup Forever HD foundation stick in the shade Y505, I'm gonna start the contouring process. Starting with the forehead, I'm placing this cream along the perimeter to add back a little depth. James really already has the perfect forehead shape and size, so I'm not necessarily contouring to reduce the size, but really just to add back color in the areas that we would naturally get the most color from the sun. The same goes for the cheekbones, under the jawline, and the sides of the nose. I'm not getting too caught up with the perfection of placement of this contour, since I'll be blending it all out anyways, my goal is just to get the pigment onto the face, and then we'll deal with the perfecting of the blend in a minute, which you'll see I do with my beauty blender. Okie dokie, are you guys still with me here? We have that all blended out for the most part, and now we have to set those creams. To do so, I'm using my RCMA no color powder, pouring it into the palm of my hand, and using a powder puff to apply this onto the face. I'm using a tapping motion because I want to press this into the skin. I don't want to drag it because that's just going to move around all the product that we just worked so hard to blend out. You can definitely personalize how much powder you want to use, but because we're filming in front of bright lights and in HD, I do go kind of crazy with product because it reads a heck of a lot different on camera than it does in person. I also want to make sure areas like where I contoured are completely set because I'll later be going in with bronzer on top of this. Anytime you take a pigmented powder like bronzer and place it directly on top of a foundation that hasn't been set, you're risking the chances of getting a really patchy and muddy result, which of course is not the most flattering look for anybody. And as you can see here, I'm adding just a bit more concealer to the center of the nose to give us a little extra pop. To bronze, I'm using a Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Island Ting. P.S. I love that name. And I'm applying this to the areas I had applied the contour. And I'm also bringing this up into the hairline. If you're a boy or girl out there with hair as short as James's, try bringing up your bronzer. It just helps everything aesthetically flow and gives the appearance that you really just have that natural sun-kissed bronze look. But I'm not looking to add a whole lot of bronzer, which is why I'm using a very light hand with a very soft and diffused face brush. And with a makeup wedge, I'm baking the sides of the nose right along the contour. Since a makeup wedge has a really sharp edge to it, it makes steps like this really quick and very effective. Okay, let's get started on the eyes. I'm taking a mauve-y gray eyeshadow and running this through the crease and the outer corner of the eye. Why am I being so aggressive? Spencer! Also, I didn't show the exact eyeshadow palette I used, but I think it was the Soft Glam eyeshadow palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. But in terms of eyeshadows, the only two shadows I used for this complete look was this gray color and also a black eyeshadow color. But right now, I'm just running that gray as our transition shade to smoke out both the top and bottom areas of the eye. And then with our Inglot gel black liner, I'm gonna run this through the waterline. Although I didn't have an exact idea of what I wanted to do with the eye look, I did know that I wanted it to be dramatic. James always does these crazy, bright, colorful eye looks that are so beautifully done. So I kind of wanted to switch it up and take it to the dark side today for this look. And nothing gives us that look better than running black gel liner through the waterline. Once I have that placed, I'm taking a smaller eyeshadow blending brush to start smoking that out. This is when I start incorporating that second eyeshadow color, which is black. This not only helps us set the gel black liner used, but also to give us a more dramatic and diffused look. And once I have that smoked out the amount I want, I start playing with the details, like extending the inner corner and even winging out the outer corner too. So now we have ourselves a reversed winged liner look, which is one of my favorites to do. So you can totally stop here, add a lash, and call it a day for this eye look. But because I wanted to be extra, I'm running a mix of that gray and black eyeshadow through the crease to deepen it up a bit and give us a little structure. A lot of this is back and forth with building up that eyeshadow and blending it out to create the illusion you want with your eyes. I do end up going in with the glitter in a second, so I didn't worry too much about bringing the depth of that shadow onto the lid itself. I'm just focusing it in the crease and buffing it out towards the temples. Heading back to my Inglot gel liner, I'm lining the upper lid with an angled liner brush, running it from the inner corner all the way to the outer corner, joining it with the wing we had created earlier from the bottom lash line. Then, with my Urban Decay Heavy Metals glitter gel in the shade Disco Daydream, I'm applying this onto the center of the lid, keeping it right under that shadow we placed in the crease. I love a good glitter moment, which is why I probably abandoned that whole simple reversed winged liner look and just went for it. I needed the glitter in my life. And I'm also bringing this forward to the inner corner of the eye. After this glitter, I was getting Studio 54 vibes, so I deepened up the crease with a bit more black eyeshadow to give us that contrasted yet thin crease that was common in those disco days. And then with my Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder in the shade Medium 2, I'm applying this while also wiping off the excess baking powder after I did the other eye and the lashes off camera. For blush, I'm using the Double Take Cream and Powder Blush from Patrick Ta in the shade She's That Girl, and I'm applying this onto the apples of the cheeks and bringing it upwards. I love a good blush, so I'm not being shy with this. And of course, I'll be including this along with all the products I've used today down below in the description box. And with this matte liquid lipstick from Huda Beauty in the shade Trendsetter, I'm having James line his lips. Especially when working on another makeup artist, sometimes it's just easier for me to have them line their own lips because I feel like it's just one of those things that people are so particular on, including myself. And then with this liquid lipstick from Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Pure Hollywood, I'm placing this in the center of the lips and buffing it outwards, just to give the lips a little contrast and definition. To add some shine, I'm using MAC's Lip Glass to gloss up the lips. When I use two different lipsticks to create a defined lip color, I find that gloss really helps marry the two together, which is why you see me buffing it around. Now, there's one last step you may have thought I had forgotten, but given I've done a lot of these steps out of order today for this look, I thought it would only be appropriate to save this step for last. So to highlight, I'm using the Soho highlighter from Ofra, and I'm applying this onto the high point of the cheekbones to give us that bright and glow from within effect. After the cheekbones, I'm taking a smaller detail brush to apply this highlight down the center and tip of the nose, which officially makes this the very last step of creating this Studio 54 dramatic glam on the one and only James Charles. There we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big ol' thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at PAINTEDBYSPENCER. And until next time, I'll see you soon.